Hey guys, my name is Sam and welcome back to Sam's Garden Project, where I am gardening on a suburban block in the suburbs of Melbourne, Australia. So today we are in my kitchen. I have a big bowl of jalapenos that we harvested in my last garden harvest video, and today we're going to be preserving them up in some glass jars and make some pickled jalapenos. I know a few of you have been asking about what I do with the jalapenos, so today I'm going to show you. So let's do this together. I've only done this one time before and they turned out really well. My partner really loved the pickled jalapenos. I'm not a fan of jalapenos and spicy things. I'm just a weakling when it comes to spice, but I like doing it for my partner. He really enjoys them. So let's get into it. So here we have all the ingredients that we need on my island bench ready to go. Obviously we've got the jalapenos, we've got a big pot to make the brine in, I've got my glass jars which I need to clean. They are clean anyway out of the dishwasher, but I need to give them a bit of a sterilising before we put the jalapenos in. I've got some sugar, white sugar, yellow mustard seeds, cumin seeds, white vinegar and salt. So you just make the brine first in the big pot, cut up the jalapenos to the size that you want. Once the brine is made, then you just pour the jalapenos, pour the brine over the jalapenos in the jar, and then you just seal the jars. So it's pretty simple to make. This has been a job on my list for a while and it'll be good to get it done. So first things first, we need to cut up all the jalapenos to the size that we want. So I'm going to grab my knife and a chopping board and we'll just start chopping up the jalapeno. So I'm just going to give these a bit of a rinse first, just to get all the dust off from the garden. So I've just grabbed a second bowl just to put the jalapenos that I slice up, just so I can keep them separate. So once we cut them all up, I am going to then make the brine. So I'm going to be here a while doing this, so I'll come back to you when we're all done cutting this up and the bowl is full. So I reckon we're about halfway there. We've got a nice big bowl full of mixed colour jalapenos. The red and the green doesn't bother me. I just harvest whatever's out there on the plant, and we've still got about less than half to go, but we are making progress. Alright, the whole bowl is done. It didn't take too long, probably only took me about 10 minutes, but that's not footage that you want to see for 10 minutes, but that's alright. So nice big mix of colours. It looks stunning in the bowl. But on to the next step. So I'm going to be real with you. Those jalapenos have been sitting in the bowl in the fridge for I think about a week now, because I don't normally get to big projects as soon as I harvest things if they need to be preserved. So they've been in the fridge for a week. They're perfectly fine and crunchy still, but let's go outside in the garden and see if there's any more that are to size on the plants outside. I'll grab my bowl and we'll go check the plants, because I don't want to have to do this again if I have another harvest out there. So let's go outside. So we're out here at the jalapeno bed and I can see lots of colour. So let's get another batch harvested and then I can make one big batch instead of having to do this all again in 2 weeks time. So I'm just going to come out and harvest whatever is a decent size. These ones are probably a bit small. That's a good size. that's an okay size. And whatever's red too. Probably going to end up with another bowl full, but I'll just make my way through the jalapenos and we'll see what we've got. Alright, so I've gone through everything and we've managed to get another little handful of jalapenos, so we'll add that to the bowl of sliced ones that we've just... Alright, last one. The final amount. I should have weighed these before I started because I have no idea what I started with, but that's a good amount to pickle up. So what I'm also going to do is I've got my big stock pot out and I'm going to fill it with water and I'm going to sterilize my glass jars in the boiling water. I'm going to hot pack them, so I'm going to put, which means the hot brine and the hot pickles into the glass jars and then kind of water bath can them that way. But in order for the glass to be safe and not crack, you need to warm it up and heat it first, so it's a good way of sterilizing the jars and also preparing the jars so that you're not putting hot liquid into a cold jar and ending up with broken glass. So I'm just going to put the lids in. The water's still cold at the moment. And then the jars. And I might try and see if I've got some more jars because I have a feeling we're going to make more than 2, 4, 5 jars. Because they're only like those those jam ones, so they're small. I'm going to go through my cupboards and see if I've got some more jars because the amount of jalapenos we have here looks like it'll be more than 5. Alright, so now it's time to make the brine for, no, not really a brine, the pickling brine I suppose. In the pot I've got my jars boiling away on the stovetop there, sterilizing, and so let's get onto the brine. The recipe calls for 1.5 cups of white vinegar. I'm gonna triple this recipe because I've got so many jalapenos. It says 8 large jalapeno peppers, so this is way more than 8. So I'm gonna triple the recipe, and then we'll see how much brine we see if we have enough. So 1.5 times 3, 4.5 cups of white vinegar. 2, 3, 4, and then 1/2 cup. Perfect. So that's 4.5. We need 1/2 cup of filtered water, so that's just 2 cups. I'm just going to use my kettle to measure it out. So we've got 1, 2, 1 teaspoon yellow mustard. I haven't got much yellow mustard seeds left, so I'm just going to pour the rest of this in. It's probably about maybe 2.5, 3 teaspoons, so that's okay. 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. So we can do 4 of them because we've got heaps of these. 2, 3, too much. So I'm realizing now as I'm editing this video is that I originally said I was going to triple the video, so I tripled the amount of vinegar and water, but I am actually quadrupling the amount of spices and sugar and salt. So that's fine. We'll just have to see how they taste. It might just mean that the jalapenos are extra seasoned and they've got a bit more flavor in them. It shouldn't matter too much because I didn't actually use all of the brine with all the spices as well. But we'll just see how sweet and salty it becomes with the sugar and the salt. Whoops. And the salt, 1 tablespoon of coarse sea salt. I've just got regular salt, sea salt. It's not coarse, it's just fine, but that's okay. It'll all dissolve, so we need 4 tablespoons of that. 1, 2, 3, and that's about 4. I need to fill that up. So here we have our brine. Let's put it on the stove. We need to get this to a boil. We need to boil this and let the sugar and the salt dissolve, and then we can pop the jalapenos in. The jars are steaming away. They're slowly boiling. I'm just going to put the lid on the brine so that it can boil a bit quicker. Alright, so this is now boiling. We'll give it a stir. Perfect. Turn the heat off. Pour all our jalapenos into the brine mix. These are going to be very full packed jars of pickled jalapenos. We get these jars out of the boiling water. Be very careful because it is boiling water, very hot water that you're in. Okay, so now time to fill. I've got my funnel. I'm going to put it in the jar like so. And we're just gonna funnel it into the jars. I'm doing the bigger jars first because I'd rather have some bigger jars in my cupboard, and then the smaller jars I can give to people. I'm not sure how many this batch is going to make. We'll just see what happens. Alright, so I've gotten most of the jalapenos out of the container. There's still a bit of liquid in here, which is good because we need to come through and top up the lids with liquid so that the liquid is covering all the jalapenos, and also like make sure that the jars aren't over full. So that's got too much in it, that one's got too much in it, that one needs more liquid, that one needs more liquid, that one needs more liquid. So we'll just come through and make sure all the jars are filled appropriately before we put them in the water bath canner. I'm also just going to press them down because a lot of them are actually filled quite well. I just need to get the air bubbles out. And the jalapenos all sit nicely in the liquid. I will fill up some of them though. Alright, so now we're just going to carefully put the lids on. The glass is still warm. It's not boiling hot, but it's warm to touch. So you still need to be a bit careful. So we are going to put them in the water bath canner, but I think there's a bit too much water in here, so I'm just going to very carefully empty some of the water out. If I put the jars in, it'll be overflowing. Perfect. Let's turn that off when boiling actually. And then we'll put the jars in. So after all those jalapenos, we managed to get 2, 4, 6, 7 jars in the brine. I've got my canning tongs, which are good for glass jars, and I'm gonna make sure the lids are tightened. So I'm just gonna check that first, and then we'll put them in the water. I am just reusing glass jars because in Australia it is hard to come across proper canning jars, and we can just reuse these ones as long as the glass is in good condition and the lid is clean. It is pretty common practice here to just reuse glass jars for preserving whatever you want to preserve. The glass jars are water bath canning's like appropriate because normally the contents of these jars, like jams or tomato sauces, that's how they preserve them. So they water bath can them to seal them. The lid is popped. All these lids have a little pop seal on them, so they're fine to reuse. So I'm going to turn this back on. And we'll let that come to a boil. I need to check how long they need to boil for, and then that's pretty much done. We will have 2, 4, 6, 7 jars of jalapenos, all from the garden. So we'll just clean up a little bit, put some things away. These 2 glass jars we didn't use, and they've cooled right down now, so I'm going to put them back in my pantry where I keep all my glass jars. I'll keep this tea towel out for when the glasses are, when the jars are done, so we can put them on the tea towel rather than on the cold stone bench top, because then they could crack again as well. We'll clean this up. We'll put the dishes in the dishwasher. Not many dishes, just a few pots and bowls. We'll load the dishwasher up and then the kitchen will be clean and it'll be as if we did nothing, so that's great. I made this little sign and it's been really good so that we know what the dishwasher is clean or dirty, instead of having to open it and have a look. Just a bit of effort. So if we have dirty, that means the stuff in there is dirty, we can keep filling it, and if it's clean, that means the dishwasher is put on and is ready to be emptied. But these are dirty dishes. When it's full, I'll turn it on. So I've just checked the recipe as well as done some googling to see how long you need to can jalapenos for, and at my altitude, which is pretty much sea level, it's 10 minutes once it comes to boiling. So once this gets to boiling, which will be soon, I'll keep an eye on it and wait for 10 minutes and then it should be done. I'll take them out, put them on the tea towel and let them sit, and then as they cool down, the suction from the contents inside will form a seal of the lid and they'll pop. So this is all done now. It's been boiling for 10 minutes. I'll just get my cloth just in case. So these are all done. I'm going to leave them on the bench overnight and I'll be able to put them in the cupboard tomorrow. As they seal, they should pop and the seal will kind of like solidify. As you can see, they're all, the safety seal is all kind of like raised on all of them. But yeah, so they're safe to go in the pantry, but as they cool, it'll form a better seal and it'll be, I don't know, the proper way of doing it. So thanks for hanging out with me today in my kitchen instead of my garden. It's been nice. It's been good to be able to get something done off my list. Those jalapenos have been in the garden. They're actually overwintered plants from last year. So I grew them from seed last year. I let them overwinter in the garden. They've come back in spring, last season of spring. And now summer has come and they've got a harvest, and we've just preserved up the harvest. So fresh from the garden into the cupboard, preserving the goodness that we put all this effort into growing. So let me know if you enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a different type of video, and don't forget to like, share my video to your friends and family, and also subscribe if you want to see more content. So thanks guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.